And recently, just over a week ago, there was a sad passing of one of the great rabbis in the world, especially since many, many years. His name was Harav Meir נסים Mazuz Z'tl, one of the great rabbis, famous Tunisian rabbis, especially over the last 100 years, from the rabbinic dynasty of the great Mazuz family. He was Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Rachמים in Bnei Brak and its connected institutions. He was also involved in the political, let's just say, arena, really worked with the religious ultra-Orthodox parties, all especially through many, many years of his life. He was actually born, I believe, in the area of Tunis, in Tunisia, respectively. Remember, this had a great Torah community, and his father was a famous great rabbi, Harav Matzliach Mazuz. I think he happened to be himself a Dayan and let's say the head rabbi of the Jewish community in Tunisia, and one of, let's just say, a founder of Yeshivat Rachמים. Really, really great rabbi, and we've actually mentioned, I dedicated a video and spoken about him in detail in previous videos over here. But he would go on, Rabbi Meir Mazuz, at a young age to study in a famous yeshiva in Tunisia, a place we've spoken about on various occasions before, called Yeshivat Hebrat Talmud. I think at that point in time, the rabbi was Rabbi Yitzchak Buchrich, who happened to be a great rabbi. He would also study with Rav Yosef Susu, a Kohen, another great rabbi, a famous rabbi of Gabs in Tunisia. He was, I think, a deputy head of the rabbis in the Jewish court over there in the capital city of Tunis. So it was really learned under great auspices. I think come at the age of 17 years old, he started teaching, I believe. I think the name of the yeshiva was called Ohel Yosef Yitzchak Yeshiva, and that was based in Tunis. I believe he would get married. His wife's name was Rabbanit Esther Louisa, if I'm not mistaken. This was, I'm not so sure the exact date when he got married to her. I believe it's reported over here that she passed away on Tet Zayin Kislev in the year Tafshin Samach Aleph. And I think they had 2 sons and 4 daughters, is reported over. Sadly, there was the horrific murder of his father. I think that was in 1971. It was reported over through a Muslim actually did this. We spoke about that in that specific video we did on Hacham Matzliach Mazuz. I think we recorded just over a year ago over there. And that obviously hit the family, and he was a very, very great rabbi. Rabbi Matzliach Mazuz was respectively. And he had great rabbis that happened to be brothers also, including Rab Tzemach Mazuz and Rab Rachmim. And they would also, I think, move to Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, and they would establish Yeshivat Rachmim in Bnei Brak over there. And this would become like, let's say, a chain of yeshiva institutions over there, which would include various different dormitories, young schools in of itself, Torah study centers, seminars for girls, small yeshivot, large yeshivot, kollels in Bnei Brak, and various other cities, also in Jerusalem, in Elad, in areas like Emmanuel, in Bat Yam, Accra. So you can see the perpetuation of the Torah there was so many people studying. I think at separate times there would be as many as more than let's say 1,500 students studying in these institutions. Not altogether, obviously. There was much more all throughout the history of the organization, which is absolutely booming. But at single times it would get as busy as that. And it's actually interesting. I think come what the year 1977, there will be the establishment of the Machon Harav Matzliach. This is obviously named after his father, the great famous Rab Matzliach Mazuz over there. And I think various different books, tefillah books, prayer books would come out, Tehillim books, books of Psalms, Tikkun Korim. And this was actually, I think, done according, let's say, to Shitata Dikduk, the grammar and the Nusach, the liturgy of Rab Mazuz. They were expert, especially the family itself, I believe, within regards to Hebrew grammar, within regards to the intricacies of the different letters, Hebrew letters in of itself, what they all meant, and I would recommend everyone to look more into that. There was various different great rabbis connected to the Sephardi rabbis in general, and it was just a perpetuation of Torah was absolutely phenomenal. I believe every year the institutions itself, especially of these great institutions, would hold a grand celebration in memory of his father, Rav Matzliach Mazuz, on the Hilula itself. I think he passed away in the early 1970s, around over 50 years ago. It's interesting. All throughout his life, huge amounts of work has been done. I believe since the year 2015, which we're talking about just around 10 years ago, here from the time of recording, he would give weekly classes on a famous radio station called Kol Barama, I believe, let's say a popular ultra-Orthodox, connected radio station where they've got many tens of thousands of people listening. And so that is interesting. And sadly, he passed away, I believe it was April 19th in 2025. We're talking about 8-9 days ago here from the time of recording. Let's explore with regards to his education and halakhic teachings. He would actually really promote the Tunisian method of study especially with regards to the Gemara, the Talmud in itself. Various different articles he published, and I think especially in the year 1980, some of it was compiled by another famous rabbi, Rabbi Chaim Amsalem, who happened to be a community rabbi, head of Jewish court, and I think the head of the Am Shalem movement also, and various different undertakings. He said, I believe later on he will become a member, Rabbi Chaim Amsalem, of the Shas political party in the Knesset. That's the ultra-Orthodox Sephardi party over there. And various different booklets will be actually, let's say, published within regards to that. He was very careful and precise, reported over, within regards to the Sephardic syllabification of Hebrew letters. As we said before, he was a grammarian. Within regards to Hebrew grammar, he was an expert, especially when it came to tefillah, prayer, and Torah reading. And he tried to instill and preserve, let's just say, this brilliance in especially various shurim he would give, various lessons, and the Sfarim also. And he adopted, it's reported over, a method of Rab Shaul HaKohen, another great rabbi, I think, the author of the Lechem Bikurim book in of itself, and he was a great rabbi in the small town of Jerba, respectively, great Torah place in of itself, and especially going to according to the text of the prayer, which way it should be. I think reported over according to the rules of biblical language. It's reported over, and Rabbi Mazuz is reported over ruled that the blessing of on different rulings within regards to blessings, how it should be pronounced, and the different traditions with regards to different blessings in themselves, which I recommend everyone to look into at a separate time period after this video within regards to it. He really would talk and delve within regards to different rules of grammar in of itself. He encouraged Torah study for a lot of people to use, let's say, biblical texts in regards to grammar and for proofs in of itself. Would use do grandiose, brilliant purity in itself, melodious rabbinical tests, try and incorporate it in a bit, especially like many of the Tunisian great rabbis of yesteryear. He had extensive knowledge reported over of Piyutim, especially medieval Spanish poetry. These are great songs in of itself. And I think there was Ish Matzliach series of various different Mazhorim, great books within regards for the various festivals or specific days in itself. I think Lamentations, especially on Tish B'Av. Especially when he was in his youth, he composed, let's say, a comprehensive commentary on Rabbi Yehuda Halevi's Piyut, the Mi Kamoch, I believe, and various different commentaries on this, quoting sources from the Torah and Nevi'im and Ketuvim, respectively. And he would give various different glosses on the text of prayer, and it was printed inside the Siddur called Ish Matzliach. It's reported over, and there was various different pamphlets. I think Luca Gersa, if I'm not mistaken, and very interesting in itself. I think he would, especially some of the printings of some of his books, was supported by various different great rabbis and got, let's say, a printed approval, especially from Hacham Obadiah Yosef, the famous former chief rabbi of Israel, a rabbi we've spoken about extensively here in this series, and other great rabbis also. There was another Rab called Rav Shriya Diblitsky, a head Lithuanian rabbi. Remember, he was very, very well connected with many rabbis, and I would very much recommend everyone to look more into that, because it's a breath of fresh air to see so many different connections in of itself. Now, I think he would have a book called also the Solet Nikiya, if I'm not mistaken, also, which dealt with in regards to various different halachot, especially within regards to Ibur Chodesh, especially leap years, and the general calendar of the year, Hebrew calendar in of itself, and the various different tikkunim, let's just say, I think it was printed in Binat Li'itim also, and the Machon Harab Matzliach. That was, let's say, the Machon, the foundation, which was actually set up in his father's memory, respectively. And much more can be added within regards to that. Various different customs. There's always been some differences in the diaspora communities, and especially of Gerber Jewry to the land of Israel in of itself. And he would speak extensively about that, which approach to specifically take in of itself. I will quote various different great rabbis, including Rav Ovadia Yosef, Rav Shalom Ashash, especially, and different great rabbis from the, let's just say, the northern African countries. The Chacham Meir Mazuz would publish, I believe, an article on the various different important subjects in of itself. And I think he would actually, in one of the books, use the introduction of Rab Moshe Kalfon HaKohen's book, the Brit Kahuna, especially when talking about the customs of Gerber, respectively, and speaking in detail within regards to his teaching on the subject of different customs in the land itself, respectively. He was a very, very great, brilliant rabbi in the Haredi community, ultra-Orthodox community in of itself. Respectively, he had different teachings and chidushim, especially when it came to techelet, for example, especially on the tzitzit, respectively. He ordered that one should not say tachnun, especially on Yom Yerushalayim, and to say nishmat kol chai, it's reported over, and which is very interestingly enough, he would speak about that extensively, I believe, especially just in recent years also. He would serve as the head of the court, the Ab Bet Din, especially with regards to Mishpat Tzedek, and I think that was actually based in the city of Bnei Brak, quite near the Yeshivat Kisei Rachamim. He would rule on various different Torah subjects, especially we can evidently see that inside the brilliant responses in various letters that he had. I think there was more than thousands of questions and answers that were published in the book Makor Ne'ema, if I'm not mistaken. And he would talk within regards to laws, within regards to Shabbat in general, within regards to, let's just say, the sphere within regards to different laws of Shabbat, which Humrot, and within regards to Halacha in of itself. So I would recommend everyone to look into that. He was quite more strict in various different rabbinical prohibitions. And I think that would be a slightly different approach to Chacham Ovadia Yosef in of itself. So it's reported over that he would also be a speaker within regards to special contemporary issues that were taking place all over the world, within regards to different health issues that could be happening, especially within regards to the time period of the coronavirus pandemic. He would speak very much about it, and obviously was a promoter within regards to how important it is to keep healthy and to keep clean, and he would give other reasons why maybe some of these things had befallen upon Am Yisrael. Itself, he was he would give his opinion on various different things that happened, whether good occurrences happened in the land of Israel, or unfortunately there was calamities that would take place, and he would very, very much speak about that in general. And he would speak more within regards to various other important topics. He opposed, for example, women's service in the IDF, stating that they should not be involved within regards to combat service, and really talking about how important it is that they would become good mothers, give birth to families and to children. He would give various different opinions from issues that had been taking place within regards to terrorism, especially unfortunately from various different Arabs, and quote important statements, quoting other politicians within regards to what kind of punishments should be given upon them, respectively. Now, he would be involved also in the political movement, political sphere, especially I believe in November 1933. I think he will found a municipal party in Bnei Brak, reported over and I think it was, I'm not sure if it was actually connected to the Shas political party or not. I would recommend everyone to explore within regards to that. Mifleget Hen, I think it was called. And I'm not sure, I think they would actually have 3 seats inside the municipality in of itself, respectively. And he was involved on various different political parties. He really spoke especially about the disengagement plan. And he was part of, let's just say, the protests against the disengagement that actually happened. And he would support, obviously, the right-wing elements of the political sphere of the Knesset, respectively, writing letters representing, I think, rabbinical committee, and really much was advocate that obviously disengagement should not happen. Come what year 2015, he was once again involved and would work with Eli Ishai and I think the Otzma Yehudit party, and they called it under Yachat. He was, let's say, the spiritual leader over there. I'm not too sure if they actually made it into Knesset, but they did get many votes at the end. And he was actually seen, he would collaborate with the religious Zionist parties, also various other rabbis, including Tzvi Yisrael Tau, and Rav Dov Leo, and Rav Shmuel Eliyahu, very great rabbanim. And come what 2019, they would actually support also. Now we see they've supported various different political parties. Now they would support the United Torah Judaism, let's say the Lithuanian political party and the Hasidic party. Rabbi Mazuz would actually, I believe, in one of the rallies, would sit next to Rav Kanievsky and be given the greatest honor by this political party, and I think would help them actually gain 8 seats. I think in 2021 he would support the Otzma Yehudit party also, and he would constantly, it was always a very right-wing party in of itself. He would help. I think various different political people would actually have a close connection with Rabbi Mazuz and his yeshiva Kisei Rachmim. Most famously, I think a Knesset member called Shlomo Karai, I believe, happened to be part of the Likud party, would have a close connection to him and have correspondence with him. Now, he was married, as we said before, to Rabbanit Esther Louisa, and it's reported over they had 2 sons and 4 daughters. One of his daughters being Rabbanit Geula, I believe. He was also, I think there was a Supreme Court Justice Attorney General called Meir Mazuz, who he happened to be a cousin of also. So he was another person I think we've spoken about. He was related, Rabbi Meir Mazuz, to many of the great rabbis of that time, and we're going to explore about that in a minute. Now, he suffered, I think, for a long time with regards to various different health issues, and I think in April 2025, he was hospitalized in a Petach Tikva hospital called Bellinson, and very sadly, I think he had been in other hospitals also, including Tel Shomer and Ma'aneh HaYeshua, and sadly he passed away on the 7th day of Passover in the year 2025, just about 8-9 days ago here from the time of recording. The funeral actually took place on the Sunday on Isru Chag, I believe, and it's reported over there about 150,000 people attended, according to the police figures. And he left great descendants. I believe his son-in-law is a great rabbi, Rav Leo Cohen. Very much spoke about him, especially at the time of the funeral, and many different great rabbis. Now, it's interesting. He would come from great rabbinic auspices. As we said before, his father's name was Rav Matzliach Mazuz. He would have various, there was, I believe his grandfather was Rav Raphael Mazuz, and it was a whole, let's just say, a rabbinic dynasty, respectively. Now let's explore some of his Talmidim, including Rav Moshe Levi, who was famous Sephardi Haredi Posek, part of the Kisei Rachmim institutions. Rav Yigal Cohen, a famous outreach speaker, who very much spoken about before. He's a member of the Chief Rabbinic Council and prominent head of the Yabia Omer institutions in Bnei Brak. He was one of his Talmidim. Eli Ishai happened to be the head of the Shas political party at one point in time, and head of the Yachad party, was a Talmid of his. Rav Chaim Amsalem, another great rabbi, which we mentioned about 10 minutes ago. And Rav Shlomo Kerel, who we just spoke about, sorry, not Rav Shlomo, Minister Shlomo Kerel, had a close relationship with him also, which is interesting. Now let's explore some of his books. He left great Torah works in himself, including Shut, Beit Ne'eman, which is based on questions and answers, particularly in Halacha, Chumash Beit Ne'eman, which is Chidushim on the Chumashim, Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, the various Mefarshim, the Shut Makor Ne'eman, which had more than 1,000 questions and answers, respectively, in it, the Arim Nasui, or Nasi, which was a book full of Chidushim, or especially on Mesachet Yevamot, it will concentrate on. And the Rashi and Rambam, I think we're talking about Bab Metzia, Mesachet Pesachim, and Ketuvot. Then there was various other books, Emet Kana, Asaf HaMazkir, Kobetz Ma'amarim, Sansan Le'Yair, Solet Nikia, which we spoke about before, which was on, let's say, Kiddush HaChodesh, on the new month, the blessing of the new month, Lu'ukmei Girsa. There was a Shoel Umeishiv, which is Sheilot and Shuvot, respectively, also once again written in that form. Kisei HaMelech, and the Sefer Rashut Lefi Seder HaParashot, which was on, I believe possibly on the Parashat Shua, but I'll double check that. And many other great Torah works and writings he would actually be very much part of. So let's explore more within regards to the great Racham, because he really was one of the great rabbis of his time. Among his rabbis included Rabbi Meir Mazuz Z'tl, that was his father, Hashem Yikam Demo, great rabbi, Rabbi Eliyahu Gaz, Rabbi David Barda, and the great rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak Bochnik, who we mentioned at the beginning. And he would take on, he died when he passed away. He was a Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Rachמים, one of the great rabbis and great institutions of his time, respectively. And he would work for many years as a great rabbi. I think he was buried in the Ponevezh burial plot, the Yeshiva Ponevezh plot, respectively. And please don't forget to light candles in his memory if you're going to be watching this at the time of his Zilula next year, which will naturally be on the 21st of Nisan. Obviously, not to light it, obviously, on the Shabbat, if it happens to be a Shabbat in of itself. And one of the great rabbis of his time, it's always great to speak about him. And obviously, we follow him very much so, and mentioned about him on various occasions before, within regards to his absolute greatness. So please, everyone, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't joined the channel yet, please join it. If anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share the videos to those people respectively. So wishing you blessings here from the city of Bet Shemesh, and take care.